This is a video how-to on replacing, or basically a complete teardown of your 78mm motor mount for your Goped Scooter. The reason why you'd want to do this is to either change out or replace your small sprocket, to change your gear ratio for better top speed or better torque, or to change out your clutch bearing, which has failed and become wobbly or completely disintegrated, or however that is. First things first, you need a suitable work location, whether that be a workbench like I have here, or your garage floor, or somewhere sturdy that you can get greasy and also not injure yourself or break your parts, stuff like that. The next thing would be a sprocket removal tool like I have here from Dave's Discount Motors, or a vice grip, something that you can clamp around the sprocket to twist it out essentially. The next thing you'll need is a screwdriver or a prodding device, something that you can put in the clutch bell to prevent it from spinning, so that you can unscrew the drive sprocket. The next thing would be a C-clip puller like I have here. Basically, this fits in the C-clip around the small sprocket like this, and essentially what you do is you separate the C-clip out so that you can get the clutch bell out, because the C-clip is holding the clutch bell in. The next thing you need is a hammer, so that you can pound out the clutch bearing and the clutch bell. I recommend either using sockets like these or some kind of washer or something to give yourself a good leverage in there, so that you can effectively hit the clutch bearing in the right place. Size is important, but we'll go over that later. Also, I recommend a vise like I have here, also with a rag. Good place to secure your motor mount in there to keep it from moving. And so that's what I'll be using in this video how-to. Let's get started. Alright, the first step we're going to do is remove the drive sprocket. To do so, we need to lock the clutch bell in place. As you can see, it's moving here. We need to lock it into place, then put one of our sprocket removal tools or the vice grip on the sprocket itself and unscrew it from the bell. Using your screwdriver or prodding or device or whatever I said, we need to keep the clutch bell from moving by putting the screwdriver into one of these ridges right here. As you can see, the sprocket is held still. This is a better view. This is the notch that you want the screwdriver going through to help hold it in place. So if you can see here, these little lips right in here, you want the screwdriver going through that to help lock it into place. Now look, with the screwdriver there, I can't turn the sprocket at all. But with it removed, the sprocket, for instance, spins freely. Alright, now that we have the motor mount back in the vice grip here, I'm going to go ahead and lock the clutch bell into position by putting my screwdriver through one of those ridges I showed you. This in turn locks it there. The next thing is to take our sprocket removal tool or the vice grip, it's up to you, and put it onto the sprocket. Make sure it's nice and secure on there. Alright, that looks good. Now, this is where it starts to get tough. Usually these things are locked hard and stuck in the clutch bell pretty good, unless the previous owner used some anti-seize, which I highly recommend. Either way, you're going to be using a lot of force here. This is when the vice grip comes into play. Because I don't want to look like a moron on YouTube, I have already gone ahead and loosened it up, so there's not going to be any effort shown here. Alright, let me go ahead and unscrew this. As I said, mine comes out pretty easily. I can probably do it by hand, but alright, here we go. Alright, I've gone ahead and I've completely unscrewed the sprocket here. What you're looking at is the threaded insert of the sprocket. It just screws in there, nice and easy. Came right on out, nice and easy. The next step in the process to remove the clutch bell, if you're needing to either replace the clutch bearing, which you can actually see right here, or the clutch bell itself, either it's bent or it's old or you don't think it's pretty enough for you, then keep watching here, because this is when it gets interesting. What you want to do is take your C-clip removers. I got these at Harbor Freight. I think it was like $2, $3, came with a whole bunch of other attachments. Works really, really well here. I haven't tried this, so I may end up looking like a moron here. What you want to do, I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a C-clip right here. And you want to put both ends of your C-clip remover in the little C-clip holes. like I have here. Alright, now just pull your C-clip remover apart, and presto, nice and easy. Now with that out, your bell rather can come out. Alright, now we've gone back to the vice grip, because what we're going to essentially do is use the hammer to knock out the clutch bell without damaging the bearing. This is when your hammer and your bits, your sockets come into play here. The reason I use the vise here is because I want somewhere for the bell to go when it comes out. If you're hitting it on the ground, your bell is not going to come out. This is a typical step people mess up here. You also want enough play to where it'll spin freely if it needs to, or whichever. I also recommend, which I'm going to do right now, hitting it with some either penetrating oil or WD-40. I'm going to use some penetrating oil right here. If it comes out, there we go. So that the bell hopefully slides out of the motor mount nice and easy and drops down right here and doesn't break anything or bend it. Alright, let's go ahead and try this. What I'm going to do is put my socket on the lip of the clutch bell to where I can just hit the socket and the clutch bell will fall right out. I mean, it might take a little bit of effort here. Alright, let's give it a couple taps. Oh, nice and easy. There we go. Now this is what I was talking about. You want to make sure you measure up your sockets to the size of the clutch bell so that you don't want to beat on the bearing, or else it's not going to move and you're going to break your bearing even more. Alright, so far we've disassembled this to the point of getting to the clutch bearing, which is right here. You can see it fitting in here. Now this one is pretty much worn out. This is actually not my motor mount but a friend's. I'm going to replace his clutch bearing before I send it back to him. So yeah, these are the components so far. The first thing we did was remove the sprocket, which is right here. It's actually just unscrewed out of this. I'll put it back in here just to show you. Shoot. It just screws right back into here. Just like that. Just to give you a picture of what you're unscrewing essentially. Here was that small C-clip that went on the front of the motor mount here. The next step is to remove this final C-clip right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's sitting right in here. It keeps the bearing in place. So all I'm going to do is take my C-clip remover again, put it in the little holes of the C-clip, push it together. Shoot. Push it together, and hopefully lift this thing. Woo! That went fine. Alright, back. This is the large C-clip. As you can see, it's significantly larger than the small one. Usually you can get away with reusing the large one. It doesn't really bend. It doesn't bend at all. I have a collection of about 10 of them. However, the small one you should replace after every time you remove it. These things are pretty much bad, so we'll get rid of that. Now, this comes the final part of the procedure, and I'm going to move to the floor here to show you. Alright, I've moved down to the floor here to show you the final procedure. Basically, what we want to do is pound out the clutch bearing in here. By doing so, that will allow you to put in your new one, which I'm not going to show you in this video, but it's pretty much straightforward. What I need is that larger socket that I showed you earlier. I'm going to put it in here on the metal part of the bearing. I don't want it on the cover. I want it on the metal part. So make sure you measure your socket accordingly, or use something else, or whichever. I'm going to put the socket on there, like so. I'm going to hold it to make sure this doesn't go flying and hit myself or somebody I care about. And I'm just going to gently tap it out with a hammer. Nice and easy. Look at that. And that is your bearing. Now, rarely do they ever come out this easy. I hadn't planned this, but and this is finally what you're left with. The clutch bearing, which I haven't shown you, came right out of the motor mount. All I had to do was lightly tap it. Didn't take much force. I'll go through again what I did to get here, just a refresher. I first had to remove the sprocket here out of the bell. I took off the C-clip, the small one, the first one if you remember. I took out the bell, I took out the large C-clip, and then tapped out the bearing. And that gets you with a motor mount with nothing in it. Anyways, I hope this how-to's been informative. If you have any questions, ask. Peace.